Well, it's time for this year's Maker's Challenge. Every year, Theo Kellison challenges a bunch of YouTube rockhounds to make something out of their finds, and this year I've decided to make a chain out of a piece of rock. At least that's the plan. So earlier today, I made my first ever wooden chain, and this turned out pretty nice, although it's not finished at all. I didn't sand it or really try to make it look very good at all. I just wanted to practice the procedure once on wood before I tackled it in stone. So the rock I decided to use is Cladipora. This is a fossil rock that's pretty soft, so I think it'll be fairly easy to work. This doesn't have a lot of fossils in it, but that's okay because I'm not doing it for the fossils. I'm just doing it because it's a soft rock. So the first thing I need to do is get this squared up, so I'm going to take it to the saw and start cutting. All right, I have this all cut out, and so the next step is I need to shape it like this. So I did this on my table saw, and with the table saw you can move the blade up and down, and there's a fence I can adjust, and once I get it adjusted I just ran this across there 8 times and I had this shape. Unfortunately with my rock saw the blade doesn't go up and down, and there is a little fence, but it's much too low for where I'm going to need it. So I'm going to attempt to make a jig to raise the table up, and it'll just have a fixed fence on it. I used my piece of wood from before, and I've got it set up so there's a fence here, and I raised this up high enough so the blade just sticks up 1/2 inch, which is what this is, and I think that's going to work fine. Alright, looks like my cuts are just a little bit shallow, but I think I'd rather have it that way than too deep. I think if I just tap on that with a hammer, maybe if I even squeeze it, it'll break. Nope, it's not doing it by squeezing. Maybe a little tap. Let me grab a hammer. There it goes. Alright, so there's a little bit of roughness in there, but I think I can live with that. I'm extremely pleased with how that turned out. And I've marked my chain links on here already. Used a little template. And since it's a black rock, I use this paint marker. I'm only doing 3 links because I think that's going to be plenty challenging for me. Okay, I started hacking this up with a saw. I cut both ends off, and I started to cut this. I did this side, but I didn't do this side because I need to drill into this. And just like with wood, where the drill comes out the other side of a piece of wood, it chips the wood. Same thing happens with stone. So I thought I'd leave this backing here. It's not backed over here, but I think that's still going to be better to start and get a few holes drilled in there to drill out the middle of my chain link. And after I get a few holes drilled, then I'll come back and cut this off. Alright, this is the part of the project I've been most excited about and also the most nervous about. I need to start carving holes through here. I need to cut along here, down this way. I need to cut along here, down that way. I need to drill through there. And the whole time I'm going to be praying that this rock doesn't just crack, because that would be really, really disappointing. So here's some of the tools I plan to use. I've got a regular drill press that I actually bought for doing rock stuff. I've got my Dremel drill press. I have a second Dremel over here. Then I have this flux shaft. When I bought this one, I bought it used, and it came with the flux shaft, and I've only used it like once or twice, so I'm not really very adept at using that yet, but I guess I'll figure it out. And then I have various little burrs. I have these cut-off wheels. I only have one of these big ones, but I think that might be helpful. I've got a bunch of little ones. This is a set that I bought at Harbor Freight, and it has some little burrs in here. It has these other polishing things, which I'm not really sure what grit they are, or if they're going to be any good to me. But I'm just going to start playing with stuff and see what works. Oh, and I've got these core drills. So there's a small one, a little bigger one there. So that might be good for taking out some of this material here. So I'm just going to play around and see what happens. This is all trial and error, and hopefully it works out okay in the end. Well, this is a big mess to work with, I'll tell you that. I think this might be shale, and it smells like oil when you cut it. So not only is it messy, it stinks. So you can see through there, maybe. Yeah, right there. You can see I cut all the way through. I cut from both sides. And over here, I tried to cut from both sides also, but since this is in the way, I cut it out over here. I was able to cut deeper from this side than from this side. So I think I'm going to drill into here now and try to get some of that material out, and then I'll cut off these sides, and then I can work from the other side too. Alright, we're making progress. So I went through, you can see where it went through to there. So when I cut this off down to here, I think those pieces will fall out. These pieces have already fallen out, so next is a little cutting on the saw again. The next thing I'm going to do is separate these two links by drilling down this way. I'll drill down from here part way and then drill from here part way and hopefully meet in the middle, and that way it won't chip out so bad when it comes out of the rock. And then after that, I'm going to drill these slots all the way through. They're only partially through right now, so I'll use a little 1 millimeter drill bit in my Dremel. So I need to drill along here, and then along this. It's just been a frustrating few hours getting those slots cut in there. And what I first tried were the little 1 millimeter drills, and they just kept breaking. I broke several of them. I tried a couple different brands, and no luck with those. What ended up working the best was this. Came out of this little set. I don't know what brand these are or anything. I got them a long time ago, but the Harbor Freight ones didn't do much good. But this one's been grinding away fairly well, so I've just been digging along in there and getting it all cut out. So the next part I need to do is the little part in here. I need to kind of go in that little bit right there. I need to go in at an angle from all the different sides and just cut it out until these separate. Well, I can now say that I have successfully made a chain out of rock. It's not a pretty chain yet. I don't know if it's possible to make it pretty. It's pretty hacked up, but I'm going to do my best. I end up switching bits to this one that has a little more blunt end on it. And I think it was just fresher too, but that one worked really well. That actually only took, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. So pretty happy with that. So now I got to figure out how to make these a little narrower links and just shine the thing up. So still got a lot of work to go. Things are progressing nicely here. I've been using a combination of my cab machine to do the outside parts, and then to do inside, I've been using this bit on the Dremel. It's been working really well. At first, these were kind of not very mobile, but now you can turn these around. That was not the case before, so that's mainly what I've been working on. It's kind of look somewhat the same. Do the best I can, and then I got to polish it up. So work continues. I've been using this grinder over top this bucket or inside the bucket. That way I can dip in and cool the tools down. plus all the dust, not all the dust, some of the dust stays in the bucket. So this is pretty messy work. Well, I've now resorted to hand sanding. Just using some wet, dry sandpaper. I'm really getting in between these spots here in the middle. Just kind of moving around like this and sanding and getting everything rounded off, any little dents taken out. If there's deeper stuff, I've still got this that I'm using occasionally, but not very much. So it's coming along. I got this one pretty much done with the 220, about halfway done with this one. I got this end I'm working on, this end I haven't started on yet, and the middle chain, or the middle link, is the hardest one, but that's up next. I just put the final polish on with some Zam, and I think I'm going to call it done right there. So, hoping that I could pull this off, but I wasn't at all sure, and I think I did it. So I've got a little stone chain that I made. That's kind of fun, and it sounds cool when you clink it around like this. So there's a playlist here with the other Makers Challenge videos, so go click on that and see what everybody else made.